Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to continue from where I stopped before. The Bible is telling us that man must sin. If man does not sin, how can we know that God has ability for forgiving sin? If man is not sick, how can we know that God has the ability of healing someone? That's why in the book of Romans chapter 11:32, it is said, "For God has enclosed all men in disobedience to show mercy to all." It is God himself who put us into all these things that we are doing, all these sins that we are committing, that he can show mercy to all. In the book of Romans chapter 8-20, it is said, "For the creation was subjected to vanity, not of its own will, but because of him who made it subjected." It's not because of our own will that we are doing all these abominable things that we are doing. It is God who made us, who put us into all those vanity. But at the same time, first of all, I want to talk about the different kinds of sin. In Galatians chapter 5 verse 19-21, it is said, "All the works of the flesh are manifest. They are fornication, uncleanness, dissolution, idolatry, magic, enmity, strife, jealousy, animosity, dispute, division, self, envy, drunkenness, overreacting, and the like." These are the works of the flesh that Jesus Christ has put us into to show his divinity. But at the same time, the Bible is urging us as the follower of Jesus to avoid sin for our own good. Elsewhere in the book of Romans chapter 6 verse 15-16, it is said, "Should we sin because we are not under law but under grace? Far from there. Do you not know that by giving yourself up to someone as slave to obey him, you are slave to him whom you obey, either to sin which leads to death or to obedience which leads to righteousness?" So we have to avoid sin for our own good. In Romans chapter 6 verse 1-2, it says, shall we say then, do we abide in sin that grace may abound? It's because we are saved by grace, not by works, that we should abound in sin, we should continue in sin that grace may abound. Far from that. Far from there. How will we who have died in sin still live in sin? In Galatians 2:17, it is said that, but 17-8, it is said that, but as we seek to be justified by Christ, if we ourselves were also found to be sinners, will Christ be a minister of sin? As we say that we have been justified by Christ, which is a grace of God. It is not by good work. It is not by bad works that we are saved. Shall we continue in sin, that Christ must be called a minister of sin, a God who is encouraging sin? Far from there. In 2 Corinthians 1, in 2 Corinthians, it is said, 1, it is said, having there such promise, dearly loved one, let us purify ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and the spirit, completing our sanctification in the fear of God. We should fear God. If you fear God, you will just obey on your own will what he is telling us to do, as he is urging us to flee from sin. As we have fear of him, we just be doing it by our own way. But that does not mean that a Christian who sins will lose his salvation. The work Christian is saved once and for all. Now I want to talk about the purification of a Christian. How is a Christian purified? Is it by good work? No. In John chapter 15 verse 3, it is said, you are already clean because of the word which I spoke to you. In John chapter 17 verse 17, it is said, sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. A Christian is only be sanctified by the word of God. by believing in the person of Jesus. You are already sanctified. You do not need sacrifices of animals, because God has done